For the mom who feels like she's all alone in her journey, it gets better. It gets better. This is specifically for the person who feels like she was not cut out or is not cut out for motherhood, that she is looking forward to when the kids get older, because she is not, this is her least favorite part of the journey. To that mom, to the mom who is carrying the brunt of the emotional labor, to that mom, it gets better. It gets better. But there's work to be done for it to get better. There are things that you have to address within yourself that could be anything from limiting mindsets, which then attract in its own set of things, its own set of circumstances, operating from a lack mentality, from a lack perspective, from a lack upbringing, from a lack generational line. There are some things that have to be overcome. There are some ideals that have to be changed. And once you identify what those are for you, once you actually sit down and ask yourself the hard questions, and literally that's all it is, that it's easy. It's easy in the sense that you just have to ask yourself the questions that you would ask somebody else if you were getting to know them. But it's difficult when it comes to you, because there is a block that prevents you from seeing you as worthy enough to get to know. And that block prevents you from asking yourself, from getting to know yourself, from valuing yourself the way that you would value a stranger or the person that you deeply admire. So if you are having a difficult time sitting down and asking yourself questions such as, do you know what you like? What are your deal breakers? What do you actually love? What do you like to do? What's your ideal life looking like? Basic questions, but so complicated to ask when there's that block there, right? So that being said, you got to get in and you got to ask yourself the questions. You have to get to know yourself. You have to fall in love with yourself. And I think that that's the first step. I believe that's the first step. The first action step. The first step is recognizing that you want something better. The second step is taking movement to get to the life that you want. And if you don't know what the life is that you want, then you have to ask yourself the questions. You have to ask yourself all of the questions. You have to know yourself so well that nobody else can come in and tell you who you are, because you have sat down with yourself and you have spent alone time with yourself, and you've been honest about where you struggle, what your struggles have been in your life. You have to get very honest. And if you're not ready to get honest, then you got to ask yourself why. And you have to then overcome whatever that reason is. Because ultimately, you have to be okay with being by yourself for a while. It's lonely. It doesn't feel good initially. But once you get comfortable and you just release control and stop trying to go places that your spirit is telling you not to go, and befriend people that your spirit is telling you they hate you, but they're smiling in your face. Like, you have to disassociate with all of that, because that energy, that that vibration, all of it is going to impact you. So you have to clear yourself from everything, all of the outside noise, so that you know that the energy that you're in is your own and not somebody else's. And as you sit in that time, sometimes it'll be like setting aside little increments for yourself. If you can't set the time aside yourself, then spirit is going to force you to. And that's when you find yourself all of a sudden thrust into isolation. It just happened, and there you are. And when you have to approach it from that standpoint, rather than taking the time and being mindful of setting aside 5 minutes, 10 minutes, building up to an hour, you're going to be thrust into it. And then it's going to be like, okay, you can't swim. I'm pushing you into this pool. Either you're going to sink or you're going to swim. And it is just as frantic as being thrown into that pool, not knowing how to swim. It's just as frantic. But then once you get over the initial shock, you begin to relax into it until you're floating and you're calm. And that's the process. It's not going to feel good at first. It's not going to feel good to reprogram the systems that have you already in a loop. It's not easy to come out of the loop. But you have to recognize that it's a loop first. And when you recognize it, if you don't start taking them steps, because you recognize it, your subconscious is going to force you. It's going to thrust you into what you need to do. But it's funny, because even though that winds up happening, it also wants you to be safe. So you're still going to be fighting against that programming. It's like, what you need to do, but stay here. Anyway, I'm rambling now. It gets better, Mom. It gets better. And you don't even have to be a mom listening to this. Any woman can benefit. You have to be willing to be honest with yourself. If you have a life that you want to change, you're not happy, you know that you deserve more, you know that you want to carve out more for yourself, you know that you have certain interests but haven't been able to act upon them. You have to get honest with yourself, get quiet with yourself, and acknowledge first that this isn't the life. It's okay, but I want more. And it's okay to want more. That's the thing that you have to sit with, is being okay with wanting more. I think that a lot of times we do not dream more. We do not ask for more, because life as it is, like, it's not so bad. It could be worse. Let me not be ungrateful. But just because it's okay according to society's standards doesn't mean that it's okay for you. You're a completely different person than the next person. No two people have the same DNA, not even twins. So why would we all want the same thing? That doesn't even make sense. We don't share the same DNA as anybody. Our minds don't work the same as anybody. Our wants are not the same as anybody's. What it takes to love us is not the same as everybody's. The way that somebody loves you, they could take that same love style and love somebody else. And the person receiving that love will receive it completely different than how you receive it. So why is it not okay for us to have different wants in life? No, I don't want to cook every night. I don't enjoy cooking like that. Will I? Yeah, but I'd rather have a chef. I don't want to cook. Give me the chef. You know what I'm saying? But you say that out in public and people are ready to light the fire to your feet. Oh my gosh, she don't want to cook. Everybody loves cooking. Like, come on. So get okay with what you want in life. It's okay to want more. It's okay to dream. And then once you figure that out, you've got to start embodying it. And in embodying it, that's when the challenges come up because you'll get stuck in different places. You'll plateau. And then you might even backslide a little bit. But as long as you have the goal of what you want in mind, then you always have something to strive for. You always have something to aim for, and you're going to get better on the way. The journey is amazing. The journey is amazing. And I'm still on my journey, and my goals, they've evolved over time. And that's okay too. Like, you just got to get okay with being okay with yourself. And in getting okay with being okay with yourself, you know that you've fallen in love with yourself unconditionally. How we got people out here, they don't know themselves, so they couldn't possibly love themselves. But this is how they are interacting, and myself included, before I started the work, interacting with other people, thinking that we are loving them because we're operating from a limited perspective of love. So we think we're loving this person and get offended when they're like, nah, bro, this don't feel like love. There's so many different distorted and warped perspectives of love because people have warped perceptions of themselves. They're disconnected from themselves. They're disconnected from what their body is telling them about their life. Disconnected from the intuition that guides you to a good situation or away from a bad one. All because we ain't sitting down asking ourselves questions. So yeah, this turned out to be way longer, but before I started speaking, I asked God to just speak through me. So I don't think I have anything else to say.